Great. Well, welcome again to those of you who are joining a bit late. Welcome to our demo called Work Smarter, Not Harder with Reforge. This is our plan for the next 45 or so minutes that we have together. We're going to start with a quick introduction on Reforge. We know that we may have some folks joining who are existing members, but we also have folks joining who may have more recently discovered Reforge. So want to just establish a baseline of what Reforge is, where we've been, and where we're going now. Then we are going to get into the meat of the presentation, which is our demos. We're going to walk you through 3 examples of how our users might use Reforge, including our newest features, to do more now at work. And then finally, we'll aim to reserve at least 10 or 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. One thing I'll just flag to you is that as Chris and I are presenting, we probably won't have time to answer all your questions in the chat as we go. So if you have a question you want to make sure we tackle at the end of today's session, please use the Q&A section of the Zoom screen, not the chat. That way we'll be able to track all your questions and make sure we get to them. So without further ado, I am going to get into the presentation. So what is Reforge? In a sentence, Reforge makes knowledge from world-class experts accessible and actionable so you can build with efficiency and confidence. So some of you may know this, but Reforge started with one live course called Growth Series, which was created by Brian Balfour and Andrew Chen back in 2016. It was hosted live and in person for a group of learners in San Francisco. And this course was wildly successful, so successful that it led Brian to ask the question, how might we bring this kind of knowledge to more people around the world? And so 8 years later, Growth Series is just one of the many different ways that you can become more effective in your role with us here at Reforge. So this concept of sharing knowledge that is credible and actionable has been at our core from the beginning, but how we deliver this continues to evolve. Our first approach to doing this was through courses like Growth Series. So after Growth Series, we rolled out deep dives on different components of growth, like retention and engagement. Later, we branched out to serving product teams through courses like Product Strategy, Product Management Foundations. And today, this is culminated in over 20 different courses on product, growth, marketing, and engineering topics. We have thousands of people taking these courses every year, and we continue to hear really positive feedback about how valuable these can be in changing the trajectory of people's careers. Now, that being said, what we've learned is that courses are just one of the many ways that people like to learn. They serve a particular use case very well. If you're someone who is eager to invest significant time in learning, and you're able to do so while juggling work and other life priorities, a Reforge course can help you do better work, build influence, earn that new job or promotion. But through years of speaking with our members, we uncovered a different kind of need, the desire for knowledge that was easily consumable during a normal day at work. So when we think about courses, right, they're pretty episodic. You take a course, you're done with it, you move on to doing the work. But what we heard was this desire for something that was a bit more continuous. So a course can help you prepare for a new role or prepare for an upcoming project. But where do you turn for help when you're in the middle of that new role or stuck on a problem in the middle of your project, right? A course may not be the best fit for you at that time. So the question on our minds was, how can we deliver these insights in a way that shortens the learning to doing cycle? We're really excited to share that the Reforge ecosystem in 2024 is set up to not only help you learn for later, but also help you do more now. So learning doesn't have to just be episodic. It doesn't have to be something you set aside time for a couple times a year and then deprioritize. There are 3 new features we'll highlight for you today that can help you do more now at work and kind of leverage this continuous learning and doing habit loop. The first is AI search. The second is artifacts, and the third is guides. I'll also mention that we've made some pretty major changes to our courses to make learning more for later even easier than it was before. Now, instead of just telling you about these new offerings, we are going to show you a few examples of how someone like you could leverage Reforge in their daily work. So Chris and I are going to introduce you to a few personas that I got ChatGPT's help creating. But these people are representative of the community that we already serve on Reforge today. And we're going to show you how these different personas might navigate our ecosystem as Reforge members. So kicking us off here, meet Emily. Emily is an APM at Quantum Leap. And she recently joined the team here, and in her second week at Quantum Leap, she's been tasked with writing her first product spec for what ChatGPT calls an innovative quantum algorithm. Now, Emily, as you can imagine, she's really excited about joining this new team. She wants to do a good job, but she's very, very new to this work. She doesn't really know what's expected of her when it comes to writing a product spec, but she wants to deliver something that's high quality and can actually deliver the work that's needed. So luckily, when Emily joined Quantum Leap, she also became a member of Quantum Leap's Reforge subscription. So she logs into her account. From here, she starts to get the sense that there is a ton that can be helpful to her as she's getting started at work. But she's not quite sure yet where to start. And so she starts with kind of what I think most of us would by asking a question in search. Now, our search bar has always existed as a part of the Reforge experience, but it's now powered by OpenAI. This enables search to pull more relevant content from across our library based on the meaning of a search, whether it's a topic or question. So maybe Emily asks something like this: how should I write a product spec? She asks that question, and then search does the work of scanning our entire library for course content and bite-sized content that can help her solve that problem. Now, she gets to this results page. She sees that there's a ton here that potentially looks interesting. She definitely wants to get back to this first piece of content, which looks more instructional. But what immediately catches her attention is this section here called artifacts. So she clicks into one. Now, an artifact is a real example of the work done by others. These are created by operators who have solved problems similar to the ones that you might be facing in your work. So this artifact is a product story equation at Sprinklr. It was created by Vikram when he was a senior design director at Sprinklr. Now, Emily may not know what Sprinklr is or even what a product story equation is, but she can use this summary at the top and these tags here to very quickly get a sense for whether or not this is going to be relevant to her work and her team at Quantum Leap. Now, let's say that she decides this looks promising, I want to take a closer look. She starts to scroll down. Emily very quickly gets the sense that this is very in-depth work. This is not a template. This isn't the same as something that you would find on LinkedIn, right? These are the details that Vikram thought through and developed on his time while he was working on this problem at Sprinklr. The other thing that Emily notices is that she's able to click on annotations that Vikram has added in, explaining why he did certain things in this artifact. So Vikram starts out by defining, some basic definitions for product and other terms that he'll talk about later in the doc. And he explains that he does this because on his team, people were using the same language to refer to very different things. And so aligning on the same definitions up front was really important. So Emily continues to read, and she's starting to get a sense of kind of the shape her product spec should take, right? It should include the outcomes she wants to drive, the user stories that she's trying to solve for, and how she's going to measure success. All really helpful in starting to give her a more concrete picture of what she's trying to build here. Now, Emily reads through this artifact. It seems promising. Now she's ready to start building this out herself. So she goes back to her search results and clicks on this first result, up-level your product spec. She realizes that this is also a new piece of content called a guide. Now, guides are step-by-step instructions on how to do things that make you more effective in your role. At the top here, she can see that this guide in particular includes 4 different steps. It should take no more than 15 minutes for her to skim through. So again, feels like a kind of low time investment to really level up on how she's going to build out this first product spec. Emily starts reading through. She realizes that she can skip around to different parts of the guide really easily. She also discovers that as a part of this guide, there are multiple examples listed to help her figure out how she can apply these instructions in her work. So for example, one element of the product spec that this guide talks about is defining the opportunity. Emily says, that sounds great. What does that actually look like? And right here, she's able to toggle into an example that this creator wrote for his project at NoJoy. So Emily's reading through this guide. She feels really good about what she's trying to build out with this product spec. And at the bottom, she sees links to other artifacts that show how people have applied this guide in their work. She clicks on this one to see how Sachin, who also wrote the guide on the product spec, actually built this out at NoJoy. This time when she looks at this artifact, she's ready to start using it to get her product spec started. To do so, she clicks the Use In button. She opens up a Google Doc version of the product spec. And to start editing it, all she needs to do is make a copy, and then she's able to start directly editing the work that Sachin created during his time at NoJoy. So we walked through that journey together where Emily leveraged search, artifacts, guides, and then another artifact to actually build out a draft of her product spec in a matter of minutes. What Emily and many other ICs on product growth, marketing, and engineering teams have found is that Reforge is a tool that's capable of helping you get work done, right? It's a light bulb moment for these people when they realize that Reforge isn't just a learning tool, it's also a doing tool. Now, with that, we are going to turn our attention to another member of Emily's team, her manager. So Chris, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to let you share and take us through David's journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ellen. My name is David. I'm a senior product manager at Quantum Leap, and so it's my responsibility. I manage a pod of designers and engineers, and what I'm really focused on at this point is defining our pod's goals and priorities for Q1 and beyond. So historically, we've relied on the OKR framework. It's one that has worked, but there are some issues popping up with it. So I'm going to use Reforge in a similar way to Emily. However, the altitude at which I need Reforge to help me has changed. So I'm going to come into Reforge. Again, I'm going to start with search, goals for Q1, and we'll see what it gives me here. So this almost seems the most kind of immediately relevant thing to me, set and achieve ambitious product goals. So this, again, this takes the format of a guide, but this is written by a different member of our expert community, Ravi Mehta. So what Ravi talks about is how NCTs, narrative, commitments, and tasks, are actually a more effective and preferred goal-setting framework than OKRs. So not only does he introduce this conceptually, again, as Emily pointed out, you can go into the step-by-step instructions of how to implement NCTs at your business. And so as Ellen/Emily showed in the guide, you can show examples of what it looks like, but you also have these nice tips from the expert throughout the guide to give you a little bit of additional context of how you can use this guide to apply to your work. So I think that looks great. I will come back and I'll bookmark this for later. But I want to go back to see what else this search result looks like for me. So I've heard of Noah Kagan, pretty famous person in the tech community. So I'd like to take a look at actually how they approach quarterly planning objectives and priorities at AppSumo. So we come into the artifact, and now we can see that Noah even includes video notes of his thoughts for each of these different portions. So fairly simple framework from Noah. I think I need something a little bit more in depth, but it's good to know that there's different experts contributing to this community. And so as we pop back into this, now I have not only a new goal setting framework with NCTs, I have instructions on how to apply that to my business. And I'm going to go back to the drawing board and work on my NCTs for Q1. And now it's my turn to introduce you to one step higher, my manager.
Awesome, thank you. Bringing my screen share back up here. Let's throw out Emily for a second. I'm now Samantha. I am a senior member of the Quantum Leap product team, and I'm actually a new product lead. So I've been working in product for years. I know the role of product IC inside and out, and I've even managed smaller teams within my organization. However, this most recent promotion has been challenging. On top of owning even bigger and more challenging problems in my day-to-day work, I'm now also responsible for managing the development of more junior product managers and working closely with executives that I haven't worked with before. So although I am determined to excel in my new position, I'm not quite sure that I'm equipped with the knowledge and tools necessary for success. Luckily for me, I also have a seat on Quantum Leap's subscription. And so I'm going to turn to Reforge to see if there's anything here that can help me. So I log into my account and I realize that my team has purchased several live course passes that members of the team can use at key inflection points in their career. This feels like one of those moments for me as I transition as a product lead. And so I'm going to take a look at live courses. Now, one thing to call out here is that Samantha has taken live courses with Reforge in the past, and previously Reforge offered live courses twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, and that was it. Those were the two opportunities to take live courses. This time when Samantha logs into this page, she notices that there are live courses running throughout February, throughout early March, and there are several additional courses planned for later in the year. This is really helpful because previously Samantha wasn't sure whether or not the timing would work for her to take a live course, but now it looks like there are opportunities to take live courses that fit way better into her schedule. As she scrolls down this page, one course in particular stands out here, and it's leading product teams. Samantha knows that Reforge has previously published a course called Product Leadership, but she never felt like she had enough time to dedicate to this course, which is over 40 lessons long, over 12 hours of video content. But when she scrolls down and reads more about leading product teams, she sees that this course is only 2 weeks long. There are 3 events that she can attend, as well as optional office hours. But this 2-week commitment feels very manageable alongside her work and other life commitments. So Samantha, excuse me, is excited about this course. She decides to enroll using a live course pass, and she gains access to the live course landing page. Here she can find everything she needs to successfully complete the course. So at the top here, she can read through a note from Robbie, the course creator, on why he created this course. She can understand what she can expect to learn over the next 2 weeks. And she also gets more information on the subtopics that will be covered and the expectations for the live events. Now, when she scrolls down this page, she sees that the content and events are broken up by week. So in this first week, she receives several step-by-step guides that she can start reading through to level up. So this one is about assessing her team's PM competency model. It's 2 steps long, it's 12 minutes. So again, pretty light commitment in terms of the amount of time required to get through this content. Again, here, as she's scrolling through the guide, she finds tips and examples. And at the bottom here, she finds links to artifacts where Robbie has included work he did around product competency models during his time at TripAdvisor. So again, all of this is really helpful for giving Samantha a sense of what a great competency model looks like and how she can start to bring that back to her team at Quantum Leap. Samantha then sees that she has access to an upcoming live event. In previous live courses that Samantha attended, the live events were very much structured around case studies. They were largely a conversation between the course instructor and a featured guest, but she sees that this one is going to be a workshop. It'll give her the opportunity to bring her questions and her problems that she's tackling at Quantum Leap to the rest of the group to get input from her peers and from the course creator, Ravi. She also sees at the top of this live course page the opportunity to join her peers and Ravi, the expert who created the course, on Slack. She does this and is able to engage directly with Ravi outside of events on how she can start to apply this content to her team at Quantum Leap. So 2 short weeks later, Samantha has finished the course. She's leaving the course not just with new knowledge, but also with her own tools to reassess her team's competency model. She leaves the course with a talent roadmap that she's built out to guide her team's hiring for the next quarter. And she's also leaving with a few new connections to product leaders at other companies. And they plan to stay in touch as they all go through their own transitions into leadership. So Samantha's journey is one that looks very different from the live courses journey that Reforge has previously offered. It's a journey that leverages the best parts of live courses, the live time, the access to peers, the access to experts, but delivers it in a way that makes it possible to balance this learning while also working. So Chris, back over to you.
Awesome. So thanks so much, guys, for your attention so far. And so one of the important things to know about the 3 examples that we just gave, it was hyper-focused on the product management space or the product leadership space. We've seen Reforge really resonate within that community, but it also has wider applicability across business sizes and functions. And so, one of my favorite parts of my job personally is interviewing our members and kind of hearing stories about how Reforge had like a real kind of trajectory changing impact on their business. And so I wanted to share at least one story that I thought was interesting. So Ladder is a fitness app that I personally use every day. It's awesome if you haven't tried it. It's a mobile app. You can pop in a fitness coach guides you through a workout. It doesn't stop your music. It's a great app. And Greg and his leadership team are Reforge for Teams users. And so Greg's team, they were seeing some initial growth, but they really kind of plateaued at this kind of pre-seed seed stage. And what they started to find is that monetization was their biggest blocker, but they didn't really know how to take an informed approach to develop a new monetization model, a new pricing and packaging strategy. So there's a whole set of content in Reforge to help you do that. So Greg and his leadership team went through the monetization and pricing content together, and through a different combination of Van Westendorp surveys and different pricing survey techniques that we teach at Reforge. They surveyed all their users and prospective users and did a really deep dive into, okay, like how should we price and package this thing? After they finished those surveys that informed this new pricing and packaging strategy, they actually saw 10x growth from that point forward, culminating in a Series A raise in December to set them kind of on this big growth trajectory. So Reforge helps drive real change kind of across different business sizes and different functions. So I just wanted to share that story. At this point, you may be asking about, what next steps can you take in terms of getting closer to becoming a Reforge member? And the good news is that you can start for free. So with the artifacts that Ellen and I both demoed for different use cases, that is available to you for free. All you need to do is create an account, reforge.com/login, and you'll be able to access all of our artifacts that you can use today, remix, etc. And you can also see our course list and our course schedule. You can preview some of the on-demand courses for free. And you can check out if there are any live courses coming up that you'd want to enroll in specifically. If at this point you're a little further in your kind of journey with us, there's a few different like membership packages that we offer. The first is 1 seat for 1 individual, all the way up to full enterprise organizations. And you can also purchase live courses transactionally. I think I saw that question pop up in the Q&A. And if you have any questions on individual membership, you can contact our support team at hello@reforge.com. And then for more information on these bigger team membership packages, head to reforge.com/teams. You can contact our sales team from there if you have more questions about pricing or anything like that. But we like to make packages available for any kind of size of group or individual that wants to join. So again, thank you so much for your time here, and we'll go ahead and hop into Q&A. I see a couple popped in that we can kind of kick off with, but feel free to also just drop any in the chat that you might have. So kind of our first question here, I saw, Ellen, that you marked that we're going to answer it live. Do you want to go ahead and take the search question?
Absolutely. Okay, this is a great question, and I wanted to take the opportunity to answer this live because I think this is a yes and. So the question is search smart enough to suggest solutions based on very specific business and product problems? For example, I'm building a marketplace for driving service in Ontario, Canada. Is that Ontario? I'm not sure, TBD. Will search be able to help me with this? Now, I would say yes. I think like when in doubt, throw your question, throw your context into search, and search is smart enough to kind of surface the most relevant content from across our library to help. The reason I say try search is because as we create more and more artifacts and tag those with specific business models, specific fundraising stages, specific company sizes, there will be more and more relevant content surface through search that can help you get your work done. Now, the other thing I'll add to this is that we're currently testing in beta a Reforge AI sidekick. As a Reforge employee, I get access to this beta, so I'm going to give you a preview right now. So when I open up this beta, you can access it directly from your account page. It is capable of answering questions that you have by sourcing insights and best practices from across the Reforge library. So this first question I asked it was pretty basic. What are the 3 steps to measuring retention? It came up with this answer in less than 30 seconds. The cool thing is it cites its sources, right? So this AI does not hallucinate. It is referencing a guide where we talk about measuring and evaluating retention. And it also suggests some artifacts that can help me apply this in my work. Now, just for fun, I threw the question that you were considering in the chat here as well. And I think it gave a pretty decent answer for some best practices that you should be keeping in mind as you are building out that marketplace. And again, it includes a source and some suggested artifacts as well. So my answer to your question is yes. I think search is capable of giving pretty tailored recommendations to you, but just know that we're continuing to work on optimizing this through AI, and this is something that you can start to see in product in the coming months.
Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot. And yes, it was Ontario, Canada. That's the typo.
Awesome. Good to know.
Thank you.
Of course. Cool. All right, next question. Do the course creators like Robbie run the live events? This one is an often yes, but not always. So what I'll say here, I'll give you an example, is we run some of our most popular original courses pretty frequently. So these are courses like growth series or something like retention and engagement. And for those courses, we often have an instructor who has run this live course before multiple times in the past. So they know the course content incredibly well, but they didn't actually create the course content. That being said, the majority of our live course schedule, the people who are hosting the course are also the people who created the course content. And so more often than not, you're going to get the actual creator hosting these live events. You're going to get to ask them questions directly in those events and in Slack. But there are a couple of exceptions when it comes to some of our older programs. Cool. Okay, going down the list here. This question is, when are the live courses offered throughout the year and how long are courses usually? Chris, I might let you jump in here and build on what I say. So live courses, we are now offering those on a rolling basis throughout the year. So what you see currently in product as a member is we have a bunch of courses in February. We have some rolling out in March. And by the end of February, we expect to announce our entire Q2 slate. So you'll have visibility over the next several months of all of the different live courses that you're able to enroll in. Now, in terms of how long are courses, the answer is it depends on the course. So traditional Reforge courses of the past several years were often 4 to 6 weeks long. I would say one benefit of this new live courses slate that we have this year is that often these courses are falling somewhere between 2 or 4 weeks or even shorter than that. And again, I think that is in response to a lot of feedback that we got from members that live courses are great. There's just not enough time to get through all of this content and make full use of this. And so we've really consolidated down all of our core insights into a couple of quick guides that are really credible and actionable, and a couple of events where, you know, you can make time to attend those events and get the help you need from experts. Chris, anything you'd add there?
No, I think that's pretty much perfect. I wouldn't have anything to add.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Next question. Do you also receive guides and course content with a free Reforge account, or is that only if you get an individual seat? So, Chris, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So guides and on-demand course content only comes included in membership. With the free account, you will be able to preview some of the course content. I think there's like 2 or 3 lessons that we handpicked from a few of the courses that you can kind of hop in, get a feel for how the on-demand course content is structured, and kind of get an idea for the depth and applicability of the content. But all of the the hundreds of guides and the 20 plus on-demand courses will only be available for members.
Great answer.
Cool. I can also hop into this this last question here. Radwell, I'm not totally sure I understand the difference between the individual and one user membership, but I can just answer the cost question plainly. The individual membership for new members costs $19.95 per year at $1,995 per year. And that includes on-demand access to the entire Reforge platform, plus 1 live course pass. So that would allow you to take any one live course that you'd like to take throughout the next 12 months. The reason we bundle those two is because we found that courses are a really good onboarding lever into Reforge. It helps you kind of get a grasp of the different types of content, the flow to go through it. And then you also obviously have an expert walking you through and a community of peers to discuss it with. So yeah, it's $1,995 charged annually for individual membership.
Cool. I'm not seeing any other questions. Happy to give it another minute or so for the introverts in the room. I know sometimes I need a second to really digest what I've heard and come up with a question. The one thing I'll just drop into the chat here, and maybe I'll throw this slide up on the screen, is our first recommendation to you is a no regrets move is creating a free account, right? It's really easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. And this is the best way for you to start to investigate, would something like this be useful to me on an ongoing basis through either enrolling in a live course or buying an individual or team subscription. So we'd highly recommend starting there. Just open your free account up today. And if you have any questions about what it would look like to translate this into an individual membership or a team membership, you can see the email addresses and web pages that we recommend checking out here. So hello@reforge.com if you have questions on an individual membership. And then we have a web page up with more information on what a team account looks like. Well, I think I stalled enough where I gave close to a minute for additional questions. Chris, anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
No, I would just say that I appreciate everyone's attention. Like I've mentioned before, you'll see a lot of additional product releases from us coming up this year. For example, the conversational AI feature that you saw is continuing to improve, and we have exciting things in store for that. So yeah, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to even connect with us on LinkedIn or reach out to our support team or our sales team down there. But thanks again, and hope you got some information and enjoyment out of this session.
Awesome. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.